Breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. Guys, recall, um, Nigerians will be seeking to get the record of Pablo Escobar. The record of Pablo Escobar is criminal record, right? An issue related to his drug trafficking in the US. You remember, this thing started by Atiku's lawyer fighting for this 2023. All right. Surprisingly, under Biden, right? Court said FBI and the rest, they said we're going to release the record, right? Around before the end of 2023, but they didn't release it again. They now postponed to 2024. Do you guys remember? Now, 2024 came, guess what? It's not there to release it. In that wide news, they said they cannot release this information because Pablo Escobar Tinubu was their agent. You guys remember? He said it was their asset. It's an asset to them. So that was the word they used. Can I shock you? Don't take my word for it. You are going to read from daily. It's on Daily Times. It's on the Sahara Report. And news have carried it. Court has just ordered under Donald Trump. Donald Trump government. Court has ordered that the information Pablo Escobar we are seeking for must be released. They said there's freedom of information in the US. And he's a public officer. So if you are not seeking to hear his information, why would they be hiding it? Because it doesn't make sense. See, I know Donald Trump may not be a saint, may not be a perfect man, right? But record that this same thing that they'll be ordered to release now, under Biden, with his connection and everything, this man was able to stop it from being released. But now that Donald Trump, it has been ordered. Remember, these are the documents that Donald Trump said he's going to be releasing. If you remember, I did a video on it. I told you in advance that Donald Trump promised to release it. Have you seen it? That he says he's going to release this thing before the 3rd of May. Please, let's go through this thing together now. Watch this video to the end. Please, as you watch video, before you watch it, just start sharing it. Like it and start sharing it. Okay, let's enjoy with this news. Thank you. According to Daily Times, U.S. court orders FBI anti-drug agencies to release investigation doses on Tinubu. The United States District Court for the District of Columbia has ordered top U.S. law enforcement agency to release confidential information generated on President Bola Tinubu during a purported federal investigation in the 1990s. The judge, Barry Howell, made the order on Tuesday, saying that protecting the information from public disclosure is neither logical nor plausible. An American, Aaron Greenspan, had filed a suit in June 2023 under the Freedom of Information Act against the executive officer for U.S. Anthony Department of State, Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, Internal Revenue Service, Drug Enforcement Administration, in bracket D, and the Central Intellectual Agency, CIA. In his complaint, Mr. Greenspan accused the law enforcement agencies of violating the FOIA, that is Freedom of Information Bill, by failing to release within the statutory tune document relating to purported federal investigation into President Tinubu and one Abiodun Agbele. Between 2022 and 2023, Mr. Greenspan filed 12 Freedom of Information requests with 6 different U.S. government agencies and components, seeking information about a joint investigation conducted by the FBI, IROSD, and the U.S. Attorney offices for the Northern District of Indiana and Northern District of Illinois. According to Mr. Greenspan, the record being requested involved charging decisions on the activities, including money laundering, of a Chicago heroin ring that operated in the early 1990s. In each Freedom of Information request, the American sought criminal investigation record about 4 named individuals alleged associated with the drug ring Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Lee, Andrew Edward Muzen, Agbegboyega, Ayande, and Abiodun Agbele. After the request, all the U.S. agencies issued gloomy responses, refusing to confirm or deny whether the requested record exists. Mr. Greenspan contested Those responses are the Department of Justice, Office of Information Policy. The OIP, however, affirmed the agency refusal to confirm or deny the existence of the requested record. The American then filed a lawsuit on 12 June 2023, naming the FBI, DIA, IRS, USA, and Department of State as defendant, and challenging each agency's response to the separate Freedom of Information request. Court documents show that the CIA was later added as a defendant in the first amendment complaint along with a challenge to the agency glamour response to the plaintiff Freedom of Information request. On 20th October 2023, Mr. Grisman filed an emergency motion seeking a hearing to compare the U.S. agencies to immediately proceed record responsive to the FOIA request. He cited the Nigerian Supreme Court plan to begin hearing argument in 3 days' time in a litigation contesting Mr. Tinubu's 2023 election as the president of Nigeria. 3 days later, on 23rd October 2023, Mr. Grispan's emergency motion was denied for failing to satisfy any of the requirements for emergency injunctive relief. Also, in the same day, President Tinubu moved to intervene in the case, citing his privacy interest in his confidential tax record and documents from the federal law enforcement agencies that fell within the Privacy Act or exception to freedom of information and should not be disclosed. In 1993, Mr. Tinubu was said to have forfeited $460,000 to the American government after authorities leaked the funds to proceed of interest to proceed of narcotics trafficking. The issue of Mr. Tinubu's forfeiture of the funds featured prominently at the presidential election court, where his opponent Atiku Abubakar and Peter Obi challenged the presidential eligibility to contest Nigeria presidency, but the election court, in unanimous decision, dismissed the suit, affirming Mr. Tinubu's election. However, on Tuesday, Judge Howell ruled partly in favor of Mr. Grispan in the U.S. The judge noted that the global response asserted by the FBI and DEA are improper and must be lifted. He said the FBI and DEA failed to show that they properly invoked freedom of information. Mr. Howell said, since it was acknowledged that Mr. Tinubu was a subject on investigation involving both the FBI and the shame that the global responses were necessary to protect this information from public disclosure is at this point neither logical or possible, while the freedom of information request should be granted. Explaining his judgment further, Mr. Howell established that a freedom of information requester may challenge the propriety of an agency global response in 2 ways. First, by challenging the agency assertion that confirming or denying the existence of any record would result in a cognizable harm under a freedom of information exemption, and second, showing that the agency has officially acknowledged otherwise exempt information through prior disclosure, meaning that the agency has waived its right to claim an exemption with respect to that information. In this case, the judge said Mr. Grispan asserted both types of challenging to defendant global responses. The plaintiff argument that 1, D has officially confirmed investigation of Agbele's involvement in the drug trafficking ring. 2, the FBI and D have both officially confirmed investigation of Tinubu related to the drug trafficking ring. 3. Any privacy interest implicated by the Freedom of Information request to the FBI and D for record about Tinubu are overcome by the public interest to release of such information. And 4. The CIA has officially acknowledged record response to plaintiff Freedom of Information request about Tinubu. Meanwhile, the CIA has the judgment entitled in his favor. In this case, the judge ruled that Mr. Greenspan has failed. Meanwhile, the CIA has a judgment entitled in his favor. In this case, the judge ruled that Mr. Greenspan has failed to show that the CIA has ever officially acknowledged the existence or non-existence of record response to his Freedom of Information request. Therefore, the CIA global response must be sustained. Tinubu and Bden record cleared for release. 5 of Mr. Greenspan Freedom of Information requests are still at issue in the parties pending cross motions for summary judgment. During the hearing, the plaintiff agreed to narrow the issue for summary judgment briefly to the defendant global response, reductions and withholding as to Mr. Tinubu and Mr. Agbele only. This is why in his judgment, the judge ordered that the remaining parties, apart from CIA, to file jointly by 2nd of May a report on the status of any outstanding issues in this case as described in the accompanying order. How drug ring member was busted and linked to Tinubu. Part of the documents submitted by Mr. Greenspan to court to back his Freedom of Information case was a verified complaint and accompanying affidavit filed in the Northern District of Illinois by the DOJ on 26 July 1993. The document sought the civil forfeiture of Mr. Tinubu's funds held by the First Heritage Bank allegedly connected to the drug trafficking and investigation. The affidavit by Department of Treasury Internal Revenue Services Special Agent Kaiser Moss, who was involved in the investigation, detailed the drug trafficking activities of Mr. Agbele, which provided the grant for seeking the forfeiture of Mr. Tinubu's fund. It also shared insight into how Mr. Agbele was arrested while selling heroin to a person not known to him to be an undercover agent. He stated that upon arrival in the United States, Agbele identified Akande, who has also been linked to Mr. Tinubu, as his uncle, and stated that Akande provided him Agbele an apartment in Hammond, Indiana, citing investigation agent of DIA as the source of the information. Furthermore, he said, according to the investigation, Mr. Agbele said why heroin to another individual on numerous occasions. Mr. Agbele sold white heroin to another individual on numerous occasions with the assistance of the source A.D. called Mr. Agbele to purchase a small amount of white heroin, which resulted in a transaction where Agbele sold one ounce of white heroin to a law enforcement officer working in an undercover capacity. Okay. Subsequent to this say, Agbele was arrested and agreed to cooperate with the investigation. The affidavit also states that further investigation by D disclosed a lease application completed by Mr. Agbele. Mr. Mo's affidavit confirmed that both the FBI and D investigated Mr. Tinubu in the wider probe into the drug trafficking activities of Mr. Agbele and other members of his ring. It confirmed that there is probable cause to believe that funds in certain bank accounts control to Bola Tinubu were involved in financial transactions in violation of US laws and present proceeds of drugs trafficking. He stated that seeking to target Mr. Tinubu funds arose from investigation of money laundering of the proceeds of heroin distribution organization in the Chicago area. The clues relied on were said to include information provided by special agents of the IROSD and FBI.